guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to discuss with you guys how to come to Canada through express entry. And the good news guys is that Canada wants 1 million more immigrants over the next 3 years. So the best time to apply is now.
'Cause with you by my side, I gotta ride or die. We'll be rebels, you and me. Sailing towards the sun like we shot from guns, living in a fantasy.
So express entry guys is simple and straightforward, and we'll make this video as simple as it is. So what I did is I divided the application process into 3 different stages. The first stage guys is obtaining your IELTS and ECA report and also computing for your CRS score. The second stage guys is creating an express entry profile online and submitting your application. And the third stage is passport request and visa stamping. So later guys, we're going to dive in each of these stages and I'm going to explain to you the step-by-step process in detail. Now, one question though is, who can apply for express entry? Well, anyone who falls under the following categories that I will mention can apply through the system. First category guys is skill type 0. So these are the managerial jobs. So for example, we have financial managers, construction managers, restaurant managers, and engineering managers. The second category guys is skill type A. So these are the professional jobs. For example, myself, computer programmer, we have doctors, nurses, engineers, and teachers. The third and last category guys is skill type B, which are for technical jobs or skilled trades. So we have chefs, plumbers, or electricians. So if your job falls in any of these categories, the next thing to do is to determine the NOC code from which your job is classified under. Again guys, I'm putting the link in the description box below to find your NOC code. Let's do it together. So in front of you guys is a page that lists all the NOC code. So as you can see here, there's different skill types. We have skill type 0, A, B, we have C and D, but for express entry, only those professions that fall under the categories 0, A, and B can apply for express entry. So if you go further down below, you will see the lists of NOC codes here and the corresponding title. So in my case, my NOC code is 2174 because I'm a computer programmer. For nurses, the NOC code will be 3012. And if you wish to find your NOC code, simply go over to these lists here and you can click on the different pages to find your specific NOC code. So guys, what if your job does not fall in any of those categories 0, A, and B? Well, of course, you can still come to Canada, but that is through a different system called the PNP, or Provincial Nominee Program. So I will discuss this in a different video because for today I'm going to be focusing only on express entry. Now that you know your NOC code, we can now start with the application process. Going back to the 3 different stages, now let's start with the first stage. Again guys, the first stage is obtaining your IELTS and ECA report and also computing for your CRS score. Now I've mentioned the term CRS score. So what is it and what does it mean? So CRS guys stands for Comprehensive Ranking System. So basically, you need to get an invitation to apply from Canada before you can lodge your application. So in order for you guys to receive an invitation to apply, also known as ITA, your CRS score must be higher or equal to the cutoff score set by Canada. So every 2 weeks guys, Canada makes a draw and sets a cutoff score. And all applicants with CRS score higher or equal to that score will get an ITA or an invitation to apply. Okay guys, so if you are still confused with what ITA means, simply think that ITA is a letter that you'll receive on your online account. And once you receive the ITA letter, then you're ready to file your application. Before we move on, please consider subscribing to my channel guys and also hit the notification bell so that you will be notified every time I upload a new video. Let's talk about IELTS, or International English Language Testing System. So why do you need IELTS? Well, you need to provide your IELTS report because Canada wants to know your English proficiency in terms of speaking, listening, reading, and writing. And also guys, you need your IELTS score to compute for your overall CRS score. Now, how can you obtain an IELTS report? Let's do it together. So guys, if you want to take an IELTS exam, there's actually two providers for IELTS, which is the British Council and the IDP. But for this demonstration, we're going to take British Council as an example. So if you want to book your IELTS exam with British Council, just head over to this website, which is ielts.britishcouncil.org, which you can also find the link on the description box below. So once on this page, just simply scroll down and you can find here your country. Select Philippines, for example. And then click continue, and then on the left hand side click on the register link, and then scroll down below. You can see a question here: are you applying for IELTS for UK visa? Say no. Click on next, and then as you can see here, the test module is set to academic, but for express entry you only need to take the general training. So switch over to the general training. And now you can see the different test dates for general training. So for example, the earliest will be on July 27, 2019, which is Saturday. It also shows you the date for speaking test, the location, which is in EDSA Shangri-La Hotel, and the registration period. So if you guys are ready to book for this exam, then just click on register online and then hit OK. So here are the things to remember for IELTS. I cannot stress enough the importance of your IELTS score to your overall CRS score. In order to get the maximum points of 136 for IELTS, you need to obtain 7.5 in speaking, 8.5 in listening, 8 in reading, and 7.5 in writing. But sometimes it's a little hard to get those scores. So if you can't get the maximum points, at least you must score 8.0 in listening and 7.0 for the rest to boost your IELTS score, and that is actually 124 points. The second thing to note is that IELTS report must be at least 2 years old. Now, the cost of IELTS is actually $200 or 10,000 pesos. Let's move on to the second requirement, which is obtaining your ECA report. Now the question is, why do you need an ECA report? Since you've taken your credentials outside of Canada, you need to have your credentials assessed again so that Canada knows what is the equivalent of your credential in Canadian standards. Let me take myself as an example. So I graduated college back in the Philippines with a bachelor's degree. So is this credential same with Canadian standards? We don't know. That's why we need to have it assessed by certain assessing agencies such as WES, ICES, IQAS, and ICES. But for all of them, the most popular and the quickest to provide an ECA report is WES. So how can you obtain an ECA report? Let's do it together. So guys, to get an ECA report, you need to have your credentials assessed by an assessing body. So we have different organizations. We have WES, ECAS, ICAS, CES, but the most popular of them is WES, and I advise that you have your credentials assessed with WES because they are one of the fastest and quickest organizations to provide an ECA report. So if once on this page, wes.org, simply scroll down and click on the new applicants, get started, and then click on apply now. So it says, where will you use your evaluation? Click Canada, and then click on WES standard application, and then create an account by filling in all the fields right here, and finally click on create account. In my next videos, guys, I'm going to walk you through the step-by-step process of getting an ECA report through WES or World Education Services. But for now, please go ahead and create an account so that we can move on the express entry application. Here are things to remember for the ECA report. So guys, after you have your credentials evaluated, if they assess that your credential is equivalent to a bachelor's degree in Canada, then automatically you will get 120 points. And if it is a master's degree, then you get 135. And if it's a doctor's degree, then you get 150 points. Let's talk about the cost. The cost to get an ECA report is actually $220 or 8,600 pesos. Now that you have both your IELTS and your ECA report, now we're ready to compute for your CRS score. So a while ago, I mentioned to you guys what a CRS score means, which determines whether you get an invitation to apply or not. So just to recap, if your CRS score is higher or equal to the cutoff set by Canada, then you will get an invitation to apply. Now the question is, what is CRS score based from? Well, the CRS score is actually based on your age, your education, your work experience, and a lot of other factors. But don't worry, because right now, we're going to compute for your CRS. Let's do it together. So guys, to compute for your CRS score, just go to this link, which you can also find on the description box below. So I've already answered the questions here just to facilitate the discussion. So normally in this tool, you just have to answer the following questions. So number 1, what is your marital status? Say single, your age 29, your level of education, say master's degree. Have you earned a Canadian degree? If you don't, then no. What are the official languages that you took? Say IELTS. And then enter the scores here for your speaking, your listening, your reading, and also your writing. Did you take any other language results? If not, then just say not applicable. Work experience, you have work experience in Canada. If no, just say none. How about outside of Canada? For example, Philippines, India. Say 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years or more. Do you have a certificate of qualification from a Canadian province? If you don't have, say no. Do you have a valid job offer in Canada? Say no. Do you have a nomination certificate from a province or territory? Say no if you don't have. And do you or your spouse or common law partner have at least one brother or sister living in Canada? If you have, then say yes, and then simply click on the calculate your score. And then after that, it will tell you your results in summary. So here they are. And it will also give you your total or overall CRS score, which is 496. So for the last draw, the cutoff that was set by Canada was around 462. So since your CRS score is greater than the cutoff score, which is 462, then you will receive an ITA or an invitation to apply. You can actually go ahead and play around on this tool. Just simply answer the questions here, and then it will give you your total CRS score, just to get the feel of how much CRS score you might get out of this application. So the higher the CRS score, the better. And also, one of the tips that I can give you guys is make sure that you get the highest points for your speaking, for your listening, reading, and writing, because it's actually very important that you get a high score with this. Because for example, for right now, if our IELTS score is actually 136 if you get the maximum points, but if you only get, say for example, 7 for speaking, for listening you have 8, you have 7 for reading, and writing you have 7, and if you click on the calculate your score, then your IELTS will go down from 136 to 124. Another tip that I can give you guys to boost your CRS score is to actually have a provincial nomination or a job offer, or both if you can make it. So for example, if we have a provincial nomination, we can answer this question here. Do you have a nomination certificate from province or territory? Answer yes. And if you have a valid job offer, answer yes. And then which NOC or skill type, say skill type or skill level A, and then click on calculate your score. And as you can see here, you automatically have 600 points for provincial nomination and 50 points for job offer, which gave you a total CRS points of 1,134. Let's ask this question again. How do you know when you're invited to apply for permanent residence? Again, every 2 weeks, there is an express entry draw, and in this draw, Canada sets a cutoff score. So all applicants who has a CRS score higher or equal to that score will be invited to apply for permanent residence. So for example, in the last draw on June 26th, the cutoff score is actually 462. And since my CRS score is higher than the cutoff score set by Canada, which is 462, then I will get an invitation to apply for permanent residence. And the invitation letter will be sent to my Express Entry online account. Speaking of Express Entry online account, That's the next thing we need to do. Now we're done with stage 1 and we're moving on to stage 2, which is creating an express entry profile online and submitting your application. So guys, now that you have your IELTS, your ECA report, and also your CRS score, now is the right time to create an online account. To do that, simply go to this link, which you can find on the description box below. Now, after creating an online account, you will be placed in a pool of thousands of other candidates waiting to receive an ITA. So the next thing to do here, guys, is to just wait for the next roll, which happens every 2 weeks. So once your CRS score is higher than a cutoff score set by Canada, then you will get an invitation to apply, in which you need to submit all the documents within 60 days. So guys, it might take a while to receive an ITA. So just to maximize your time, you can start gathering your requirements while waiting for the ITA. The documents that you need to submit are: number 1, medical report. The medical report must be taken from a hospital and not from anywhere else. The second document is the PCC, or the Police Clearance Certificate. So guys, if you've lived in another country for more than 6 months, then you need to provide a PCC for that. So the third document that you need to provide are the reference letters, also called employment certificates. So this actually shows proof of your work experiences. By the way guys, one important thing to note with reference letters is that your job description must match exactly as what is written on the job description under your NOC code. So if that confuses you guys, don't worry, because right now I'm going to demonstrate with you what I mean by that. So in front of you guys is the page that lists all the NOC code. So I'll take myself as an example. If you scroll further down, okay, so since I'm a computer programmer, my NOC code is 2174. Let's write it down and click on the link. Now if you scroll further down, you can see that the main duties of a computer programmer is to write, modify, integrate, test software code, maintain existing computer programs, identify, communicate technical problems, and so on and so forth. So what I mean by what I told you a while ago guys is that just make sure that the job description you put on your reference letter must match exactly what is written here, because Canada will actually check each and every job description that you write in your reference letter, and they are going to check if they match or if they don't match. So just be prepared and make sure that you satisfy all of these requirements. Let's move on to the fourth requirement, which is the birth certificate, or if you are married, you will need a marriage certificate. The fifth document is your bank statement, which will be your proof of funds. So here on your right side is the table of proof of funds in Canadian dollars. So if you're applying as a single person, it will be 12,000 plus. If you're applying with someone else, perhaps your wife or your husband, it will be 15,000. And if you're applying as a family member with one child, and it's gonna be $19,000. The sixth document to submit are the pages of your passport. So guys, just simply scan the pages of your passport. Normally the first page where it shows your name, your address, and also all other pages where you have visa stamp from countries you've traveled before. The seventh document that you need to prepare guys are the photographs. So these photographs have special sizes and dimensions. And to check those dimensions, kindly click on the link on the description box below. So guys, once you received your ITA or your invitation to apply and all your docs are ready, now you can go ahead to submit your application. So guys, upon submitting your application online, you also need to pay the processing fee of 1,000 Canadian dollars, which you can pay by credit card. Also guys, one thing to note is that once you've created your express entry profile, you now have the ability to register for the job bank to increase your CRS score. So the question now is, how do you apply for jobs in the job bank? Let's do it together. So guys, to look for jobs in job bank, all you have to do is go to this link, jobbank.gc.ca. You can also find this link on the description box below. And then right here in this field, type in the job that you're looking for, say computer programmer, and then click on search. And then these are all the jobs that you might be interested in. So say for example, click on the first one, which is computer programmer by Progi. And then on the right hand side, click on sign up now. And then since you don't have an account yet, click on sign up now button here. And then scroll over down and then click on agree. So as you can see here, there's an information that tells if you are an express entry candidate, you will need your express entry profile number and your job seeker validation code. So once you create your express entry profile, it will give you a profile number, and then you need this profile number as well as the job seeker validation code for you to create a job match account. And once you have those information, just click on continue. Finally, we're on the last stage, which is the visa stamping. Once your application is approved, you will receive a COPR, which stands for Confirmation of Permanent Residency, wherein you need to submit your passport for visa stamping. Then you will get your passport back with a single entry visa in about 2 weeks. So congratulations, and you have your visa stamped now. I'm really happy and excited to see you guys here in Canada, especially if you're moving here in Toronto. Please let me know. We can probably have some coffee in Tim Hortons downtown, or we can go to the CN Tower. So I'll see you guys soon. Bye!